Even though he grew up in a good home, two loving parents, hardworking, had a great relationship with mom and dad, a couple of brothers, but that didn't prevent Brody Haight from experimenting with drugs. After graduating from high school, Brody began traveling across Canada, and his alcohol and drug use would intensify. He would become addicted to cocaine. Over the next 10 years, his life turned into a living nightmare, overdoses, and countless arrests. Brody, thank you for coming in today and sharing your story. So what was your growing up years like when you were a kid? Pretty good?
Yeah, growing up was good. I had a loving parents, a very successful mother. I had two brothers, and growing up was good starting off. I did start off school with a little bit of a delay in speaking, and I was put back in grade 2, which kind of set me off to a wrong start with a bit of insecurity.
Yeah, I guess that, I've talked to a lot of people like that. You know, when you have those difficulties in childhood, maybe the other kids start picking you on a little bit.
Yeah, so I had that delay, and I was a little bit older growing up, and I found at a young age, as I acted up a little bit, I would get a little bit more attention, and I would start to get in trouble.
So how did you get yourself into drugs? And again, you did have some of those insecurities, but you did have that support at home.
Yeah, as I grew up, I did see a lot of people drinking, and I seen other families drinking and things like that. And as I got into about grade 6 or 7, somebody in school offered me marijuana, and I thought, I want to try this. I want to see what this is all about. And when I tried it, it made me feel just amazing. It made me take all of those insecurities, all of that brokenness, and all of that feeling away.
So you get into marijuana, then eventually ecstasy, cocaine?
Yeah, by the time I got to grade 8, I was already drinking. By the time I got into grade 9, I already started experimenting with cocaine and MDMA and all of that stuff along with it. And as I went through high school, it just kept progressively getting worse and worse.
What were your parents? Were they noticing change in your attitude, behavior?
They were noticing, but like I said, my mom was a very successful business owner, and my mom worked long stretch of hours. So I would have a lot of time where I was off on my own. So
it wasn't that your parents were neglecting you, it's just that they're busy. And hey, I know I raised 4 kids, and there's things that, as I look back and go, man, I should have been there. So was there any anger towards your parents at that time?
No, there was no anger or things at that time, but I was just finding more and more my identity in the partying lifestyle.
So that led into a destructive lifestyle. Yeah. You end up in jail. Tell me about how you ended up in that situation.
Yeah, as I went on with that drug history, it became worse and worse and worse, and cocaine became an every weekend party, and it would go from Monday night, it would go from Friday night to Sunday morning sometimes. And along that time, I started getting aggressive, and I would start getting angry. And as I went out to different bars and different places, I would get in fights. And my first charge was an assault charge. So I ended up in a provincial jail.
How old were you at that time, Brody?
I would have been in my early 20s.
Were you functioning at all? Were you able to hold down a job?
Around these times, I could function for a little bit and then not function. So I would get my stuff together, but then again, my addiction, cocaine, would start taking over again.
Tell me when you would be arrested, what were some of your feelings at that time? You going, wow, like, was there any point you going, I need to stop this?
It was a slippery slope. I always wanted to stop in my mind, but as the brokenness piled up on top of each other, I just didn't know how to escape from what I got myself involved in.
So 6 years ago, you're at the bottom. Tell me what was going on then.
I was trying with my own strength all of this time to quit doing cocaine, to quit drinking. And like I said, my identity became so involved in this. I didn't know how to escape this brokenness, this darkness. And I decided that I was just going to give up. I just couldn't do it anymore. And I decided to take my own life using a number of drugs and alcohol.
So you did try to commit suicide. Yeah. We're going to pick up the story when we come back. And, if you're watching the program today and you're thinking, you know what, I feel despair, I'm feeling lost, we always have people standing by. You can call our prayer lines at any time. And we'll pick up on Brody's story right after this.